If you could sit and share a meal with anyone from any time in history, from any part of your own life, who would it be? Maybe someone famous, or maybe an important historical figure, perhaps someone whose line of thinking or rationale from some big moment or discovery in the world that you've been dying to finally ask them and understand what it was that tipped them off. Maybe a loved one that you knew only through stories. Or maybe today, as we sit here remembering our lost loved ones, you long for one more meal, one more conversation, one more chance to say, I love you, or share a touch and a smile with them. Our ancestors understood the value of this exercise, both as a way of invoking the memory of those who came before us, and also to keep the value of hachnasat orchim, of welcoming guests, front and center in our minds. Throughout the holiday of Sukkot, which we have just finished, we tend to lean into inviting friends and family to gather in our sukkah to share a meal. One of Sukkot's many names is, after all, Zman Simchatenu, the season of our joy, recognizing the centrality of welcoming guests as a deeper spiritual opportunity. The mystical Kabbalistic rabbis of the 13th century introduced the practice of ushpizin, an Aramaic word for welcoming historical guests into our sukkah throughout the holiday. In the Zohar, the Kabbalistic rabbis explain, observe that when a person sits in this abode of the shadow of faith, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, spreads her wings over them from above, and Abraham and 5 other righteous ones make their abode with him. Rabbi Abba said, Abraham and 5 righteous ones, plus David with them. Hence it is written, in booths shall you dwell 7 days, and a person should rejoice each day of the festival with these ushpizin, these sacred guests who abide with them. According to tradition, these ushpizin, these sacred guests, are our patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, along with other important biblical figures, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, and King David. Each day of the holiday, a different guest is invited to dwell with us in our sukkah. In traditional Sidurim, there's a special ritual for welcoming each guest. The ushpizin are greeted with a liturgical poem, a piyut, originally written in Aramaic. Come in, exalted and holy guests. Come in, exalted and holy ancestors, to sit in the shadow of the exalted faithful one, in the shadow of the blessed Holy One. And then before sitting down for your meal, you announce, I am inviting the lofty guests, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, Joseph, and David. And each night, you call out by name and invite another guest to sit with you and spend time with you in your sukkah. It's as if they're sitting beside you at your table, inspiring you with their stories, their memories, the values they held most dear. In more recent years, many contemporary Jews have extended this tradition to include our matriarchs as well. Abraham is joined by Sarah, Isaac by Rebekah, and Jacob by Leah and Rachel. Jacob is joined by Leah, and Rachel joins Joseph. Zipporah joins Moses, Miriam joins her brother Aaron, and David might come either with his wives Bathsheba, Michal, or Abigail, or maybe even his great-grandmother Ruth. The essence of this practice is creating a space for us to contemplate how we engage with the past. The Kabbalists also recognize that our ancestors still have lessons to teach us. It's not just about what we learn from their example, but about the essence of their character and how we incorporate those traits into our own lives. The mystics connect each of the patriarchs to the different sfirot, the successive divine emanations related to distinct qualities of the divine. Abraham is connected to the trait of chesed, of kindness. Isaac is connected to gevurah, strength. Jacob is connected to tiferet, adornment. Moses is connected to netzach, eternity. Aaron connects to hod, or splendor. Joseph to yesod, or foundation. And David, perhaps the most direct connection, to malchut, kingship. Each of these ushpizin brings their own unique qualities into our sukkah, just as we find inspiration in the many different facets of those who we remember today. Rabbi Dahlia Marks, my teacher in Jerusalem, in her book From Time to Time, Journeys in the Jewish Calendar, describes her own family's Ushpizin tradition. She writes, "The rule is that you can invite anyone from any walk of life, including fictional characters. Vicky invited Golda Meir to ask her what it was like to function in such a male environment. Ulrich invited Hannah Arendt so she could debate with her about her theories. Noam invited David Ben-Gurion. We carefully pointed out that he and Golda might not get along so well. Sarah invited Rabbi Regina Jonas, the first woman to receive rabbinic ordination. Neve invited his basketball hero, LeBron James. Orna invited Theodore Herzl so she could ask whether he is satisfied with the outcome of the Zionist movement. And Danny invited a service technician, any service technician who wouldn't let him down. That is, if he could find one by next year. Inviting Ushpizin and Ushpizot, explains Rabbi Marks, from Jewish tradition, alongside actual flesh and blood guests, and the unique guests each of them would like to encounter and talk with, transforms Sukkot into a holiday of surprising encounters with ourselves and with others. It spreads out a sukkah of peace that brings together past, present, and future, brings distant people near, and offers endless opportunities for conversation. There's comfort to be found in this notion that every year we can invite those people who have been most important in our own lives to sit with us a little while longer. That death hasn't severed our connection to them, our ability to access those stories and memories of and with them. Some people go so far as to include images of their Ushpizin, their guests, in their Sukkot. Rabbi Shlomo Fox offers this insight into why that practice might be meaningful for some. He explains that making the Ushpizin present in the sukkah is in accord with the verse from Isaiah, "Then your eyes will see your guides." Our choice of who we invite into our sukkah defines our aspirations and hopes. Those figures symbolize not only the walls, the borders of home, but also our identity. Tell me who the guests in your sukkah are, and I'll know a good deal about your world. The way in which we honor the memories of those who are important to us matters. The moments in which we create spaces to let them in, to spend time with them, continually shapes our lives, who we are and who we want to become, how we aspire to live up to the very best values and lessons that they've taught us, particularly as we gather today to observe Yizkor, literally our service of remembering. We feel the presence of those whom we've loved and lost. They are here with us, in our hearts, at the front of our minds, as we invite them to sit with us with intention and purpose this morning. Together as a community, we create a different kind of sukkah today, a delicate, fragile space in which we hold each other as we surround ourselves with the memories of our loved ones as our own Ushpizin, our own sacred guests of memory.